In a peaceful little village, there lived an old woman named Mary, who resided alone in a humble house. Though she had no family nearby, Mary never felt lonely. She was well known throughout the village for her kind heart and constant willingness to help others. She was well known throughout the village for her kind heart and constant willingness to help others. Whenever neighbors faced difficulties or needed advice, they would visit Mary for comfort and to share their stories. In return for her kindness, the villagers never let Mary go without. They often brought her food, firewood, and other essentials to ensure she was well cared for. Thanks to this loving connection, Mary's simple life was filled with warmth and joy. One chilly autumn morning, Mary decided to go into the forest to collect firewood for the coming winter. The rustling golden leaves danced in the wind, and the air carried the gentle scent of damp earth and dry foliage. As Mary ventured deeper into the woods, something unexpected happened. She stumbled upon something unusual, a large old pot partially buried in the ground. Curious, she brushed off the dirt and opened the lid. What she saw made her heart race. Inside the pot were glittering gold coins, gleaming brightly under the sunlight. Mary couldn't hide her surprise and joy. Her heart pounded, and her mind started to imagine a better life. She saw herself living in a grand house with a cozy fireplace, seated in a luxurious velvet armchair, no longer worried about scarcity. It was a life she had never even dared to dream of. However, the joy quickly gave way to a real challenge. The pot was too large and heavy for her to lift on her own. But Mary, persistent and clever, didn't give up. She came up with a way to bring the treasure home. Using a few wooden planks from the forest, she built a makeshift slide. Then she tied a sturdy piece of cloth around the pot to help pull it. As Mary continued pulling the heavy pot through the forest, she began to notice something strange. Each time she paused to rest and looked inside, the gold coins seemed to have changed. What was once brilliant gold had now turned to silver, still precious, but no longer as dazzling. But the transformation didn't stop there. The farther she went, the silver began to fade into a dull, grayish iron. Mary stopped, lifted the lid again, and stood stunned. The pot now contained only worthless iron coins. Yet instead of surrendering to sadness, Mary took a deep breath and reflected. She thought about her current life, a small but cozy home, warm meals gifted by her neighbors, and the love she received each day. As she sat down under a tree, a smile slowly spread across her face. Perhaps true happiness wasn't about how much gold one had, but rather knowing how to appreciate what one already has. And for Mary, that was more than enough. Sitting by the side of the road, looking at the now worthless pot of iron coins, Mary didn't feel sadness anymore. Instead, a peaceful calm settled in her heart. With newfound clarity and gratitude, Mary chose to leave the pot behind. She walked away from the forest without regret, returning to the village she loved. That evening, as she sat beside her old fireplace, resting in her worn but comfortable wooden chair, she felt a deep joy. It wasn't gold that brought her happiness, but peace, gratitude, and the sincere love of her community. From that day on, Mary lived just as before, always helping others, sharing kindness, and receiving love in return. Though she had no material riches, she radiated joy, for she had discovered a simple truth. True happiness doesn't come from the outside, but from within the heart. Villagers would often visit Mary, not just for advice, but to feel the calm and positivity that radiated from her. They admired her deep gratitude for life. Though she had little, she never felt lacking. Over time, she taught them, not through words, but by her example, that true happiness comes from within. Mary became a symbol of serenity and spiritual wealth, and that contentment made her far happier than anyone who ever owned a real pot of gold.